Android 11 Developer Preview 2 is out. Let's see where the next version of Android is headed right now on Hands on Android. Hands on Android is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
This is TWiT.
This episode of Hands on Android is brought to you by Hover. Use a domain name that truly represents you and your passion. Visit hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. Hey everyone, I'm Jason Howell. Welcome back to Hands on Android. So Google is sticking to its beta release schedule for Android 11. Coronavirus be damned. The latest developer preview released just days ago, and I quickly installed it on my Pixel 3a XL to give it a whirl like I did the last time this happened, a little more than a month ago. Let's take a look at where it's at right now. There's some pretty cool updates in here. All right. So first things I should mention is that the user-facing updates in this version, this DP2 version of Android 11, are few and far between, similar to what they were in the first one from a month ago. But I'm going to show you a few of those. And I actually have my Pixel 4 XL on the left with Android 10, my Pixel 3a XL on the right with Android 11 Developer Preview 2 to show you this first feature, and it has to do with wallpaper customization. If I tap and hold on the home screen and do Styles and Wallpaper, I'll see this new redesigned wallpaper selection interface. Everything is listed below. It's really got a nice smooth movement to it, nice big preview point. On Android 10, this is how it used to look. By comparison, it's just kind of chunky, a little strange, a little bizarre. I mean, it was fine at one point, but by comparison now, I definitely prefer the new version. And they're actually pulling this format from Android 10's new style functionality. If you go to style on Android 10, you see how the layout is almost identical to what you're getting in the wallpaper customization menu over here. So they're basically taking the redesign that they did, or the new feature, and how they designed the style functionality and applying it to other things in this wallpaper customization functionality. They've also added a new section down here, clock, which right now doesn't do a whole lot. It just shows you your lock screen clock layout with a default. There are no other options down here, but I'm certain this is a sign of things to come. Sometime in the near future, we're going to get the ability to customize the lock screen clock and do whatever we want with it within the confines of this tool. So that's something to look out for. All right, next up is the screen recorder, and you may remember in DP1 that Android 11 DP1 included a screen recorder functionality. They've built it out a little bit more in DP2, and I'll show you what they've made the changes of that to do. If I tap this Screen Record Start button, it takes me to this new menu, this new window that kind of gives a little bit more additional contextual information about screen recording. Also allows me to record audio from the microphone, not the app itself, though XDA developers did find some code stashed away that seems to indicate that maybe recording audio from inside the app might be right around the corner, might actually happen, but so far it's just recording audio from the microphone. Also, show touches on screen. This is really handy. I use this all the time for doing demonstrations. If you do this and you make a screen recording and you interact with the screen, when you play that later, you'll see touches, these little dots on the screen. I'll show you in a second. So if I start this, up in the top corner, there's a 3-second countdown. So you see it in red, and boom, we are now recording. Everything that I do is being recorded on this device. It can hear me through the microphone on the device, so you'll be able to hear my audio. And let's see here, we'll do that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and stop that screen recording. And when I do that, it's gonna save it for me. Let's see here, screen recording saved, tap to view. And once I do that, you'll start to see the touches on the screen. You'll see this little dot starting to swirl around. That shows where my fingers are at any given time. And just makes it a little bit easier if this is a walkthrough to kind of follow the action on the screen. Really handy feature. So they're definitely putting some extra time into the screen recorder functionality. This episode of Hands on Android is brought to you by Hover. Hover is a jumping off point for many entrepreneurs, and they want you to start your business with a domain name that truly showcases who you are. They have over 300 domain name extensions to choose from, and no matter what you want to build, there's a domain name waiting for it. Visit hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. That's hover.com/twit. All right, we'll go back home here, and a large part of what we're seeing with this new version happens to do with notifications. So let's dive into what we're seeing there. The notification shade is getting a little bit of extra spacing. You can see up here, conversations. It's like they've got these headings appearing, and everything that falls within those headings below it, and then down to the section down to the bottom here, you can see silent notifications. I have a couple of items down there. It spaces things out, so people who don't really like unused space, they want information density, might not care for this, and I wouldn't be surprised if this gets tweaked even further as we lead up to the official release of Android 11. But you will notice down at the bottom of this, and it's kind of hard to see, sometimes it's a little buggy. Did you see that? Here, I'll show you again. Down at the very bottom, that little history thing. I bet you if I get rid of this, you'll see it the next time. Hey, there it is, history. So again, it's kind of buggy because this is a developer preview, but if I tap that history button once it finally appears, I get this, a new section in settings dedicated to a notification history. This is a running log of all the notifications that I'm receiving on my device over time. And you can see the recently dismissed ones up top, today's notifications, anything that happened to have come in on this particular day. So you've got this extra kind of running log of your notifications. If you ever need to go back, maybe you dismiss something and you want to find out what it said after the fact, you can go back here and you can manage that. And now beyond that, I could actually go into, let's say, this system UI. These are the notifications that came in within that particular app. I can tap it, and it'll take me to that app information screen so that I can set up how notifications actually operate with it. Do I want to be alerted every time a notification comes through on this? Do I want it to be silent? The notification appears, but I'm not, there's no bell that rings to let me know that it happened, and a bunch of other kind of expanded information about how that notification interacts with my OS. None of this stuff is very new, but the layer from the notification shade directly into it is pretty new, and they're working on that over time. So that seems like a really big deal. More stuff about notifications, though. If you look up here, conversations, like I mentioned earlier, this is actually a WhatsApp message that was sent to me by, well, me. That's me. But you can see if I tap and hold this and I bring up this contextual window, this existed on the previous version of the developer preview, but they've done more tweaks to kind of tighten things up. They've also added this. It's a flag to make this conversation important. Now, this is really cool. If this is a conversation that I want to follow closely, say it's with someone who, we're making plans and I want to make sure I don't miss their messages when they come through, or maybe it's my significant other, I can open up this menu, tap it to make it an important conversation, and then any new messages that appear within that conversation will appear up in my notification shade, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I've sent the message over, hey there, good fellow, and what you see is my avatar on the incoming message is actually moved to the front of the line up in my status bar, and the avatar is presented. Instead of it being like a generic WhatsApp message, my avatar is actually embedded into the status bar. I think that's kind of neat because then I can look at a glance at my phone and know that an important message from that person just came in and know to look at it instead of wondering, what message that actually belongs to. It's nice to get that contextual information immediately. And finally, take a look at notifications. You see all of these silent notifications, right? There's a Google one, a Chrome one, another Google one. The Google News one and Chrome one are showing up in my status bar, and maybe I want to hide those. Well, there is a new feature in settings that allows you to do just that. If we go to settings, apps and notifications, notifications, and then we go down here to advanced, there is this new toggle bar, hide silent notifications in the status bar. So keep your eyes locked up there. When I turn that on, those silent notifications disappear. It's just another way to kind of clean up your status bar on notifications that maybe you don't need to know about when they come in. If they're silent, they might not be that important. This is a way to eliminate the crud. They're still going to be showed in your notification feed, but it's not going to be up in your status bar, and that's one really great step. Now, the last thing that I will say is that this update actually brings some functionality to the Pixel 4 XL. Primarily, I'm talking about the face scanner on that. Now, I don't have this version of the developer preview installed on my 4XL. I'm not comfortable putting this buggy software on my daily driver quite yet. But I will link to an article. 9 to 5 Google shows the setting in all its glory that I'm about to talk about. If you may remember when this feature launched, face scanning, it was possible to scan someone's face and unlock a phone with their eyes closed, which is not very secure. So in this new version, Android 11 Developer Preview 2, there is a setting to require eyes to be open for the face unlock to work. And that's something that I really hope actually gets pushed out to the Pixel 4 XL prior to Android 11, but we'll just have to wait to see. Nonetheless, it's nice to know that it's actually in there. So even in a short amount of time from DP1 to DP2, there's some nice polish to existing functionality and some new stuff that I think I'm getting really excited about. In particular, it seems like power user features for the notifications pouring into our devices is going to be a big focus in Android 11. I'm sure there's more hiding around the corner, no doubt. We're going to have to wait until next month to see what awaits us on the next update. Email me your feedback and your questions, handsonandroid@twit.tv. I promise to answer some of those questions on the show very soon. Also, visit twit.tv/HOA to subscribe to the show. All the links there will get you hooked up on your podcatcher of choice and even link you up to our YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe, do the bell thingy, you know the drill. That's it for this week. Check y'all next week on Hands on Android.